Hello, everybody. So this is the podcast for March 8th, and you're going back and looking at your exponent rules again. So what you guys had is that when you were multiplying, you would add your exponents. You get x to the 11th. So here, you're multiplying, you would add your exponents. But I need to talk just a little more about it. That's when this is called a base. When the bases are the same, this is what you do. So if you add x to the 5th times y to the 6th, there's nothing you can do because the bases aren't the same. That's what's going on here. The bases are different. That's an x, that's a y. I can't touch it. So it just becomes, and usually you write them alphabetical, x squared, y cubed, and you're finished. There's nothing more to do. Okay. So here, you do have like terms, or like bases, I really should say. A poor choice of words on my part. You just multiply the coefficients. So that would be 30. Then you have x to the 5th times x to the 4th, instead of minus, times y squared times y to the 4th. Then you're multiplying, so you add your exponents. And you're done. Okay. Multiply the coefficients. So I need a calculator for that one. So 16 times 14 gives me 224. Then I have x to the 5th times x squared, and y to the 4th times y to the 2nd. So I have 224, x to the, add your exponents, add your exponents. Done. Okay. So 3 times 2 is 6, x to the 5th times x cubed, add your exponents, x to the 8th, and there's no other y's to combine, so that y cubed just goes along for the ride. Nothing else happens to it. It stays y cubed. Okay. So 14 times 5, 14 times 5 is 70. There are no x's in this parenthesis, so I keep it x to the 5th. Then I have y squared times y to the 1st. You're multiplying, so add your exponents. There you go. Okay. Now remember, when you had exponents on exponents, you multiplied your exponents. Okay. That's an exponent of 1. So you're going to multiply your exponents. And when your exponent out here is odd, there's generally little to worry about. I'll talk more about that in a second. So 3 times 1 is 3. So I have negative 2 to the 3rd, x to the 15th, y to the 9th. You multiplied your exponents. This you're going to have to multiply out. Whoops, that's not the one I wanted. I wanted this one. So negative 2 raised to the 3rd is negative 8. Now I'm going to talk about this again in a minute. If you had placed a parenthesis on it, which is technically correct, it still gives you the same number. Because, let me talk about this again. If I have negative 2 cubed without the parenthesis, that's saying negative 1 times 2 cubed, which is negative 1 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is negative 1 times 8, which is negative 8. If it's in parentheses, that's saying negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. The exponent, or sorry, there are an odd number of negative signs, so it's negative 8. You get the same answer. When your exponent is odd and the number, the base is negative, it doesn't matter if it's in parentheses or not. But when it's even, it does matter. Okay, so we'll talk more about that in a bit. So your final answer is negative 8, x to the 15th, y to the 9th. So that's this one. Your exponent is even and the number inside is negative. So technically it's supposed to stay in parentheses. Now multiply your exponents. X to the 16th, y to the 20th. Type that in your calculator as is with the parentheses. -4 paren raised to the 4th. Gives me 256. Exponent is a 1. So that's 2 to the 5th, x to the 10th, y to the 20th. You type in 2 to the 5th. I think that's 32. 2 raised to the 5th. Yep. There you go. And that's the name of your assignment. Thank you guys for your time. Have yourself a great one.